Something that I love to do is read. If you watch any of my videos here on the channel, you know that I love to read. And even though as I've gotten older, as my family has grown, with 4 children, I find less and less time to read, but still it's something that I make a part of my day, whether that's taking advantage of the Miracle Morning, whether that's listening to audiobooks in my car. One way or another, I find a way to read. And there's no surprise that if you look at millionaires, that 85% of all millionaires are reading 2 books per month. Yes, 2 books per month. So the question is, are you reading? And just to show you that I'm not the only one that believes that reading is important, especially if you want self-development, if you want to succeed, if you want to achieve financial freedom, build wealth, you need to read. And today I want to do a reaction video to Bill Gates, who is known as one of the most prolific readers of all successful businessmen out there. Bill Gates, it's reported he reads up to 50 books per year. That's about 1 per week. So the dude loves to read. I wanted to share this video with you because Bill shares, like his thought process, how he actually goes about choosing a book and how he actually gets the most out of every book that he reads. So let's check out this video with my reaction to Bill Gates and how the dude reads his books.
Myself start a book that I'm not going to finish.
I can totally relate to that because there are so many amazing books to read, and it takes a decent amount of time, especially when you have 4 children, to finish a book and find that extra time to read a book. So if I'm going to read a book, I want to make sure it is good enough that I'm going to start it and I'm going to finish it.
When you're reading, you have to be careful that you really are concentrating, particularly if it's a non-fiction book. Are you taking the new knowledge and sort of attaching it to the knowledge you have? And for me, taking notes helps make sure that I'm really thinking hard about what's in there. If I disagree with the book, sometimes it takes a long time to read the book because I'm writing so much in the margin. It's actually kind of frustrating. Oh, please say something I agree with so I can get through to the end of this book.
There is so much truth to that because I've recognized that when I'm reading a paperback or a hardback book, yes, I love reading on my Amazon, my Kindle. I love Audible. I mean, I've been able to digest, so many books that way. But there is something to be said when you are reading a book and you are actually taking notes, whether you're writing the notes in the book itself, or as Bill mentions, he's actually reading the book and he's got a notebook handy. Actually, a really good friend of mine, that's how he reads his books. He has his book and he has his notepad, next to the book where he's taking notes as he's going through the book.
So there's this one, it's a fiction book called Infinite Jest, but I'm trying to decide if I start it or not because I watched the movie The End of the Tour. I loved it. David Foster Wallace comes across as a super interesting, broad thinking person. If the book was like a 200 or 300 page book, there's no doubt as soon as I watch that movie, I dive in, but it's quite long and complicated, and I don't want to make an exception. It's my rule to get to the end.
It's funny, I've watched Bill Gates give some talks, but seeing him talk in this manner, it's like you forget, this dude's a billionaire. I mean, he just seems like a really humble dude and somebody that you love to drink some coffee with, maybe some tea, play some chess with, but anyway, just his little quirkiness. I'm just really enjoying this.
Over time, I will make the switch, but when I'm just sitting there at night reading, often a paper magazine or the book, I'm used to that. And it's ridiculous because I have a whole book bag that goes on my trips with me, and it's voluminous and antiquated.
It's so true because one of the biggest reasons why I switched from paperback, hard copy books to the Kindle or Audible was one of the times like I love to read is in the evenings, and it's usually in bed. But my wife, she always goes to bed a lot earlier than I do. So like it was this big struggle because she's like, turn the light off. So I went to the Kindle. Well, just recently I bought this $10, maybe less than $10 night reading lamp, that you can clip on a book. And I love it because now I'm able to read books in the dark. And I've gone back and started reading a lot more of the paperback books than the Kindle, just because there's just this difference of like holding that book and taking notes as you're going through it. So I'll have a link in the description to the nightlight that I read, or the nightlight that I bought.
If you're reading books like these, you'd want to be sitting down for an hour at a time, because otherwise just getting your mind around, okay, what was I reading? This is not the kind of thing you can do 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Magazine articles fit, or short YouTube videos fit into those.
Bill just said YouTube.
Those little slots. And so, every night I'm reading a little over an hour, and so I can take my current book and make some progress.
So I wish I could sit here and tell you that I read for an hour every single day. I don't. And typically if I can get in 30 minutes, like that's a really good session. In the evenings is when I read. Usually in the evenings, it just really depends what time our kids go to bed. But for me, it's in the mornings. I talk about this in my 5 a.m. Morning routine. Reading in the mornings after I do my 5-minute journal and pray and all those other things. That is usually the time that I get the most out of my reading. The trick in doing that though is you never know when your kids are gonna wake up, especially our daughter. She just turned 4, so sometimes she's up at 7:30, sometimes she's up at 6:30. So like this morning I was like, man, I got a full hour to get some reading done. I was gonna start at 6, and sure enough, she woke up at 6:30 this morning. So she put a little wrench in my reading plans. But but there's no way that I can just sit and read for 5 or 10 minutes. Like I feel like if I'm gonna sit down and read, I wanna have at least 20 to 30 minutes dedicated. All right, looks like that's the end of this video. Bill Gates is an amazing reader. I mean, the guy reads so much, and obviously that's contributed so much to his success. I'm gonna have some closing thoughts on just how you can implement some of this in your life. So if a billionaire that still runs a multi-million dollar company is still reading 1 book per week, then what excuse do you have? I've got 4 kids, I run multiple businesses, and I still find a way to read a book. I'm not reading a book a week, but I am reading about 2 to 3 books a month. So Bill, I'm catching up. But I wanna know, what book do you need to read next? Maybe you've seen it on Amazon, maybe somebody's recommended it to you, but there's a book that you know that you need to read right now. I'm challenging you right now. Share that book in the comments below, and then commit to reading that book today. So let me know, what is that book, and when are you gonna start reading it? Let me know in the comments, because we all need to read, all right? To lead, you need to read. So read that book today, y'all. All right, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. It's even more awesome when you're reading more books. Until next time, peace.